Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something pretty dramatic that's shaking up the financial world, the incredible surge in the price of silver. And look, for anyone with savings or who's thinking about retirement, what's happening right now is something you really need to understand. So, the price of silver has just gone through the roof, recently hitting almost $69 an ounce. I mean, this is completely new territory. A price move so powerful, it's caught even a lot of veteran market watchers flat-footed. But, according to financial expert Florian Grooms, this isn't just some random spike. He says we could be in an endgame for fiat money, government-issued currency, like the US dollar, the stuff that isn't backed by a physical commodity. That is a huge statement, right? So let's really dig in and see what he means. To really get a handle on what's happening now, we've got to rewind the clock a bit. This explosion in price didn't just come out of thin air. Nope. This is a story that has been building for decades. Okay, so check this out. What's really wild is how long this took. Silver first hit that $50 mark way back in 1980. For the next 4.5 decades, 45 years, that price acted like an unbreakable ceiling. Every single time it got close, it just got knocked back down. The expert we're looking at here describes that long period of going sideways as building up all this compressed, stored energy. Just picture a spring being coiled tighter and tighter and tighter for 45 years. Well, now that spring has finally been let go, and it's sending the price flying with just incredible force. So we know how it's been building for all these years. But the real question is, why now? What's so special about right now? Well, beyond just breaking through that old ceiling, there are a bunch of other things fueling this fire. It really is a perfect storm of events all happening at once. First off, breaking above $50 is like a giant sign for investors who follow trends, and it's pulling in a flood of new money. At the exact same time, you've got massive players. We're talking entire countries like India and China reportedly buying up huge amounts. On top of that, the US government just officially called silver a critical metal. Plus, there's this feeling that silver is just playing catch up to gold's huge run. All of this together is creating a real rush to buy. All right, so with prices moving this fast, the big question for all of us is, what does this actually mean for your savings, for your investments? Let's break down the experts' advice on how to think about this pretty wild market. This really is the key question, especially for anyone keeping an eye on their wealth as they head into or through retirement. Chasing a market that's taking off like a rocket can be really risky, so the advice we're looking at is pretty cautious. And it really depends on where you're starting from. Okay, so if you don't own any precious metals at all, the advice is to think about getting some physical metal. Not to gamble with, but as an insurance policy for your family's wealth over the long haul. But if you're already invested, the suggestion is to be patient. There's no urgent need to chase these high prices. The idea is to keep some cash on the side, ready to buy a little more if and when the price takes a sharp but temporary dip. Okay, we're going to get into some other potential opportunities and the really big picture of what this all means for the future of money. But first, if you're finding this explainer helpful, it would mean a lot if you take a second to like, share, and subscribe. That way, you won't miss any of our future updates. So, beyond silver, the analysis also pointed out a few other areas that might be interesting. Platinum, for example, is still trading way below its all-time high from back in 2008, so some think it has a lot of room to run. Then there are the silver mining stocks, which could give you an amplified return if silver keeps climbing. And even the oil sector, which is kind of an out of fashion, is seen as a potential opportunity if you like to invest against the crowd. All right, let's zoom out for a second, because this next part might be the most important piece of the whole puzzle. This isn't just about the price of a metal. It could have a real impact on the very money we all use every single day. This all comes down to a really important idea called purchasing power. It's simple, really. It's what your dollar can actually buy. And this gets to the heart of the expert's warning. Think about it this way. Maybe the real story isn't that silver is going up, but that the value of our money is going down. And that's exactly what Florian Grooms is talking about here. He argues what we're really seeing is a loss of trust in traditional currencies. When people start to lose faith that their money is going to hold its value, they tend to flock to things that have held their value for centuries, things like gold and silver. It's less about trying to get rich quick and more about just trying to hold on to what you've already worked for. And that leaves all of us with a final, really powerful question to think about. This huge move in silver might just be a sign of a much bigger shift. In a world where the value of the money in our bank accounts feels a little less certain, what truly holds its worth? It's a question that goes way beyond the day-to-day market buzz and gets right to the heart of how to protect your future.